Juan Valentin Farragut and Ponce Enrile Sr., born February 14, 1924, also referred to by his initials JPE, is a Filipino politician and lawyer who served as 21st President of the Senate of the Philippines from 2008 to 2013 and known for his role in the administration of Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos. His role in the failed coup that helped hasten the 1986 People Power Revolution and the ouster of Marcos, and his tenure in the Philippine legislature in the years after the revolution. Enrile, or Manong Johnny, as he is often called, Manong is an Ilocano term of endearment for an older brother, is married to Hispano-Filipina Cristina Castager Garcia, daughter of Candido Castager Reyes of Barcelona and Maria del Pilar Garcia Granda y Perez de Tegal of Manila, who has served as the Philippine ambassador to the Holy See. They have two children, Juan Jr. Jack and Katrina. Juan Jr. is a former congressman for the 1st District of Cagayan 1998 to 2007, 2010 to 2013, who unsuccessfully ran for a Senate seat under Una in 2013, while Katrina is currently CEO of Enrile's company Jaca Group, which owns the Philippine Match Company, a matchbox manufacturer, and Dilamondo, a food processing company. Enrile has a half-sister, Armida Sigion Reyna, who was a singer as well as a theater and film actress. Enrile has served for terms in the Senate in a total of 22 years, one of the longest tenures in the history of the upper chamber. In 2022, at the age of 98, he returned to government office as the chief presidential legal counsel in the administration of President Bongbong Marcos. Enrile was a protege of President Ferdinand Marcos, who served as Justice Secretary and Defense Minister during the Marcos administration. Enrile played a key role in the planning and documentary legwork for martial law and was in charge of the Philippine military during its implementation. Other roles in this period included presidency of the Philippine Coconut Authority, through which he gained control of the copra industry together with Danding Cojuangco, and being the general put in charge of logging in the Philippines under martial law, a period during which lumber exports were so extensive that the forest cover of the Philippines shrank until only 8% remained. Enrile and the reformed the Armed Forces Movement organized a plot to overthrow Marcos in February 1986, but they were discovered. Deciding to stage a last stand in Camp Aguinaldo, Enrile sought support from other units of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and received it from Philippine Constabulary General Fidel Ramos in nearby Camp Crane, who joined Enrile in withdrawing support for Marcos in February 1986. Marcos moved to put down the dissenters in Camps Aguinaldo and Crane. But civilians who were already preparing mass protests in response to electoral fraud during the 1986 Philippine presidential election went en masse to Epifanio de los Santos Avenue near Enrile and Ramos's forces, and prevented Marcos from assaulting the coup organizers. This mass movement of citizens to protect Enrile and Ramos was one of the key moments of the 1986 People Power Revolution, which drove Marcos out of power and into exile. Enrile has continued to be a politician since 1986. He was the Senate President from November 2008 until his resignation on June 5, 2013. He remained a senator until 2016, latterly as Minority Leader. He entered public service in 1966 when he was appointed Under Secretary of Finance by President Ferdinand E. Marcos, father and namesake of the current chief executive. Before that, however, he was already the personal legal affairs liaison of Marcos Sr. when the latter was Senate President. At 101 as of 2025, Enrile is the oldest member of the younger Marcos cabinet. In his nearly 6 decades in public office, he has served in the cabinet of 2 other presidents, Marcos Sr. and briefly Corazon Aquino, heading various departments, and was a member of Congress, either as district representative or assemblyman of his home province of Cagayan or his region. Elected in 1978, 1984, 1992, or as senator, elected in 1987, 1995, 2004, 2010. Enrile, the son of former Cagayan Congressman Alfonso Ponce Enrile with lover Petra Faraganan, was a top-notch student. He earned his Associate of Arts degree cum laude from the Ateneo de Manila University, his law degree cum laude from the University of the Philippines, and his Master of Laws from Harvard University, where he was a scholar. Enrile was the architect of the senior Marcos's martial law, implemented for practically 14 years until February 1986, when a coup attempt led by Enrile himself turned into a civilian revolution that ousted Marcos. Decades later, Enrile's daughter Katrina said in a TV interview in 2023 that his father had sought forgiveness for withdrawing support from the older Marcos and that he never really betrayed the dictator. While newly installed President Corazon Aquino appointed him Defense Secretary after Marcos's ouster, the stint lasted less than 10 months. Enrile failed to have Aquino's ear on security issues and often clashed with left-leaning members of the cabinet on certain policies. Enrile was forced to resign in November 1986 after a fact-finding committee implicated him in a coup attempt, codenamed God Save the Queen. While Enrile was mostly remembered in his stints as defense minister or secretary in various periods, he actually also took on justice and finance-related portfolios. His known specialization is in mercantile and tax laws. As a lawmaker, he combined his expertise in these fields to push laws on consumer welfare, industry competition, sign taxes, expanded value-added tax, and against terrorism. Welcome to the exciting world of 1000 Vlogs.